Hey YouTube, Stockyo here, and we are of course moving in many different ways, as I've spoken about in quite a few videos in the past, but relative from the Earth's perspective, lots of things have gone quite a bit quicker than we are. Anything that's in orbit has to be travelling, at least if it's in low Earth orbit, around 7 to 8 kilometers a second. That's how quickly the ISS is orbiting 400 kilometers above us, and that is very quick. But objects have to go even faster, like the Apollo missions, of course, to get to places such as the moon. Apollo 10 was the fastest manned and occupied spacecraft ever. Even though all the other Apollo missions followed the same route, it happened to fly quicker. Although lots of spacecraft have actually flown quite a bit quicker than it. The Voyager missions, which of course toured the entire solar system, went at 40 kilometers a second because they only actually went 10 kilometers a second, but they were launched on the Earth, which is of course orbiting around the Sun at roughly 30 kilometers a second. So they got that boost. So when they were in outside of the Earth's sphere of influence, they were moving at 40 kilometers a second, and they needed this in order to escape the Sun's gravity and of course reach Jupiter and then get a bunch of gravity assist beyond that and tour the whole solar system. So they went pretty quickly. But what's the actually fastest man-made thing? Well, there are two contenders for this, even though one of them you may not have really seemed like it should have belonged here. The first one is the Helios probe, the Helios 2 probe. This probe orbits around the Sun and has captured some very useful science about the Sun's outer atmosphere called the corona. And it's gone at its lowest pass over the Sun, where it's become really close to it, at about 70 kilometers a second or so, which is really quick. It's way quicker than it's 10 times quicker than orbital velocity in low Earth orbit. Just to put that into comparison with it, it's really quick, and the temperature is also very hot, of course, at that distance from the Sun. But the other contender for the fastest object was launched here on Earth. And it wasn't even a rocket, and it was made before NASA existed. It was a manhole cover. You see, the United States in 1956 started testing nuclear weapons underground in the deserts of Nevada, and one of which was called the Pascal B test. And for this test, they put a manhole cover over a hole on the bottom of which they were going to explode a bomb. This manhole cover weighed 900 kilograms, or to roughly 2,000 pounds for the 38.4% of my audience that comes from the US, or if I have any Liberian or Burmese viewers, although that's very unlikely. And this object was blown into space, basically, by the nuclear explosion. The estimates for its speed vary quite a bit because we only got one frame of it on a 1 millisecond speed camera, but those estimates put it at around 60 to 70 kilometers a second. So potentially the fastest thing in human history was a manhole cover.